Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's good, YouTube? Y'all know what it is, man. It's your boy Tank be chopping, back with another haircut video. Check it out, man. What we gonna be doing on this cut is we're gonna be trimming the top, mid fade, lining up the beard, adding a little bit of enhancements just to really make this haircut popping, to look better a little longer, right? But nonetheless, as y'all can see, I'm taking my Stylecraft saber, got my number 3 guard on my clippers, and what I'm doing is I'm just gonna debulk the sides. Now, you can't debulk with any guard you want. You can do it with a 2 or 4 or whatever, but I just feel anywhere between like a 2 to a 4 works really well, right? So that's what I'm doing here, 3 guard. Debulking the sides. And FYI, guys, if y'all want to purchase this clipper, I am using the Stylecraft Saber 2s. You can go to stylecraftus.com. Use my discount code TANK10 on that website to save yourself a little bit of money. But after we debulk the sides, I'm gonna go ahead and saturate the top of my client's hair. That way I can go ahead and do a little bit of shear work. You know what I'm saying? We're not doing nothing too crazy. We're just gonna take a little bit off the top. So I'm making sure that I saturate the top of my client's hair before we actually get into doing that, right? And then as you can see, this is how I like to cut the top. I know y'all see a lot of my videos, and this is the majority of how I do most of my shear work. I set in a mohawk guideline coming forward from the crown all the way to the front. And once I set that guideline in there, I'm gonna start setting in my sections the opposite way as you see here. And what this does is it allows me to have a little bit of a guideline in every section that I pull up. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, you need to, do this, you need to do shears differently. Like, bro, like this works. Like, it's not the most fanciest way. It's not the, it doesn't look the coolest, but it works. Like every piece of hair that I bring up, it's gonna have a guideline in there, so I can just use that guideline, which is now basically a traveling guideline, all through the head. I don't try to overcomplicate things. I don't try to, take too long on shear work. I get it done and I move on to the fade, because that's basically how I work. And I just feel personally that my clients like me to spend a little more time on the fade work, right? So that's the reason why I do it like this. Now, if you'd like to part the hair different ways, you want to attack the top with your shears a little differently, the DFS formula or other ways that you've seen online, that's on you. That's perfectly fine. But like I said, for me, this works. Like, this is gonna get all the hair on top even. So there's no point in overcomplicating it and making it more difficult than it needs to be. But as you can see, we're just doing the same thing to this side. And remember, guys, every piece of hair that I pull up is having a little bit of that guideline in there. And I can just use that on any piece at the top of my client's head now. Once that is done, I'm gonna go ahead and set in my initial bald guideline. I am using the Andis GTX Exos with the new M-Force blade. If y'all do want to purchase these trimmers, you can go to fwbarbersupply.com. Use my discount code TANK10 on that website. But once again, that's not just for these trimmers. That's really any barber tool you want. You get 10% off. So if you need to purchase any tools, you want to go to fwbarbersupply.com, use that discount code TANK10. But as you can see here, we're balding out my client. And like I said, we're doing a mid fade. And I know some of y'all may say that this is a little low, like the guideline isn't as high as y'all would do it. But I like to stretch my blends a little bit, right? So if you want a more stretched blend, give yourself more room to stretch that blend. If you want a more compressed blend, then your guidelines and your bald line don't have to be too, your bald guideline can be a little higher and your guidelines can be a little short, a little thinner, you know what I'm saying? But this is just the way I do it. This is the look that I like. And I feel my clients really like that blend, when I do it like that. So that's the reason why I do it like that. But now, as you can see here, I'm taking my shaver, my Babyliss FX1 shaver. We're gonna get all of this down to that shaver length. And same thing on this haircut, guys. Every time I use that shaver, the closer I get to the bald guideline, I'm making sure I'm relieving some pressure, using a slight flick out motion, and then I oftentimes even come down with the shaver just to soften up that line so it's not a harsh line that I have to blend out. So just a little shaver tip. I know I say this on every video, but not everyone watches every video. So if you haven't seen that yet or heard about that, try doing that. If you're having trouble with the shaver line, if you can't really get it out, try coming down with the shaver, or the closer you get to that bald guideline, you start flicking out and relieving some pressure. I do all 3 of these tactics on most of my haircuts, and for me it works, gets the job done. So try it out if you're having trouble to knock out that shaver line. Now we're gonna go ahead and start blending. As you can see, I am using my clipper with the lever all the way open, setting in my next section. And we're gonna come up about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch or so, give or take. And then we're gonna start to blend this section out a little bit. And what I mean by that is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna proceed to close my lever halfway closed. And I'm gonna work my way halfway into this section. And then I'm gonna close my lever notch by notch after that, working my way down. And then I will adjust my lever and do a little bit of lever play in between this haircut. And the reason why I do that is I like to do a little bit of detail work as I'm blending, but for the most part, I just try to get the majority and the bulk of my steps done. And if I need to do any detail work, I come back later on. Now, a lot of times people watch my videos, man, they tell me like, Tank, you have too many steps, there's too much stuff for you to do, but I knock out a haircut in like 25, 30 minutes, haircut and beard about 35 to 45 minutes. So, I don't think that's too much time. I know some people are taking an hour, hour and 15, hour and 30 on cuts, and they have less steps than me. So you gotta do what you gotta do, right? But now that is done, we're moving on to the number 1 guard lever open, setting in our next section. And as you can see, I'm using a slight flick out motion. We're getting closer to that parietal ridge area. So I'm trying to not follow the shape of the head, come off the shape of the head, not really following it, because then you're gonna dig into the length on top too much. So I'm just going in with my clipper open, 1 guard, basically coming off the shape of the head. And then as you see here, I am closing my lever and I'm gonna start to attack the bottom line in this section, coming about halfway into this section. And this isn't gonna get rid of that line completely. I'm gonna have to go back in with my half guard later on and clean that section up. And that is what I'm gonna be doing here. I'm going in with my clipper halfway open, the lever with this guard on there, but you can go in with the lever all the way open, or if you like to start off with it closed, you can. Basically just play around with it and see what works for you. Like what works for me may not work for the next person. However, this is just the way I do it, and it's been working great for me. After I put my 1 guard section in there, I go on my half guard halfway open, and then I adjust my lever closed, and then I'll do a little bit of lever play, a little bit of detail work to get that section to look the way I want it to look. And now that is done, I'm going with my 2 guard, basically blending into that number 3 that I did earlier. Remember guys, I did do a number 3 earlier on in the haircut to debulk. So this number 2 guard should blend into that number 3. However, it will leave some small discrepancies, and I'll come back in detail and tie this all together here in a little bit. But clipper open with the 2 guard and then clipper close with the 2 guard. And as you can see, that part of the blend is coming together nicely. We are gonna have to do a little bit of detail work, and that's what we're gonna be doing here with my 1.5 guard. And typically I go in with my 1.5 guard closed. Once again, same thing as I told y'all with the half guard. You can go in with the open, halfway open, all the way closed, whatever you want. Figure out what works best for you and what works best for your system, and then see how you can incorporate that. If you just have to go in with the clipper closed, kind of like how I'm doing here, it will knock off some time, and then you may have to adjust your lever a little bit, but that's fine, but try it closed first and see what that does. And if you need to adjust your lever, feel free to do so. Next step, I am taking my number 2 guard once again, just trying to clean up any of these discrepancies. And even though I already went over this section with the 2 guard, now I can kind of dial in a little more and see what spots are darker, where I need to apply a little more pressure, where I need to apply less pressure, flick out a little more. So like I said, this is just what I do, and a lot of people say I'm going over the same step, I shouldn't have to do this, but for me it works. As you can see, the blend is looking good. I'm only about 10 minutes into this haircut, if that. Now I'm going in with my clipper half guard, adjusting my lever, doing some more detail work. And then you ain't even got to do no detail work right now. You can just do the bulk of your steps, line them up, and then do the other side, line them up, and then come back and do detail work at the end. But it's to each his own, really, right? Like I said, once again, y'all figure out what works best for you, and just continue to do that and lock in on that and master that way of cutting hair. If it's something you're really comfortable with and you're already putting out a good product, master that, and then see if you can cut your time down and give better haircuts with that style of cutting, with that blueprint. And if not, then change it up. All right, but as y'all saw me do there, I was taking my saber trimmer, getting out that bottom line, and now I'm going in with the saber trimmer and setting in the lineup. Once again, guys, you can go to stylecraftus.com or fwbarbersupply.com to purchase this trimmer. Discount code TANK10 on both of those websites. So use that discount code. when you're purchasing these tools. That way you can get yourself 10%. You know, it's gonna be a little cheaper for you. You can afford to buy some more things, right? But as you can see, we hit up that C cup a little bit, got that vertical bar on point. Now we're gonna go ahead and start lining up the beard, the mustache, you know, just everything on the face on this side of the blend to look right. And then we're gonna proceed to fade in the beard here in a second. But if y'all made it this far in the video, man, I greatly appreciate y'all. Make sure to smash that like button. Leave a comment down below if y'all made it this far. But once I set up that lineup, once that lineup is in there, I'm gonna go back in and do a little more detail work. And then we're also gonna proceed to blend in the beard with the clipper open and then closed, one guard open then closed. And I believe this is my 4 guard. That is the length he wanted on the beard. So we're doing about a 4. Trying to get this all down to that length. 1.5 on the mustache, and then we're gonna do a little bit of more detail work with this 1 guard lever open. I said 1.5, but it's a 1 guard lever open, so technically the same thing, right? And now that that is done, we're gonna use some blending shear over comb. And this is a great detailing technique. You know, it gets away some dark areas that are there, helps get rid of those darker areas without taking off length. So that's what I like to do a lot of times when I'm just doing a little bit of detail work. But now we're gonna move on to the opposite side. And we're gonna treat this thing just like we used to treat math back in high school. What you do to one side, you gotta do to the other. So we're gonna proceed to do the same steps, lever open. We're gonna blend out this section. And just FYI guys, as y'all can see, I did speed this part of the haircut up just because it's a little redundant, but if y'all wanna watch it, cool. And I greatly appreciate it, you know what I'm saying? But if you don't, it's all good. But after that is done, we're gonna go on with our 1 guard lever open. Set in that next section, and then once that is done, we will blend that out with our 1 guard closed. It's not gonna get rid of this line completely. So we're gonna go in with our 1/2 guard halfway open, and then adjust our lever as needed to get this section of the blend to look exactly how we want it. And then once again, guys, if you take too much time on any step, just move on. A lot of times, if you move on and finish the haircut, you can see that what's really going on in that section with those dark areas, and you can come back and really just dial in later on and do some detail work to clean up the blend. And then here's my 2 guard blending into the 3 guard that I did earlier. 2 guard open and then closed. 1.5 guard closed.
Damn it, Tito. Another one?
1 guard, lever open and then closed. Basically doing some lever play with this guard right here. 1/2 guard, lever play. Y'all know how we do it, man. But check out that blend, man. We putting out a nice blend here, man. As you can see, that blend is coming together. And then I'm gonna do a little bit of clipper over comb on this side, just to really tie, you know, the sides into the top a little more. And then I'm gonna proceed to line up my client, once again using that Stylecraft Saber trimmer. One of my favorite trimmers, to be honest. So a lot of y'all asked, like, what's your favorite trimmer, Tank? What's your go-to trimmer? And honestly, this is probably that one for me, man. So if y'all interested in purchasing it, go get you a pair. StylecraftUS.com or FWBarberSupply.com. Discount code Tank10 on both of those websites. And then we're just gonna go ahead and line up my client's face on this side. Make sure everything is matching the opposite side. And then I'm not gonna show you the back of the haircut. We just do the same exact thing that we did on both sides. So that's why I really don't show the back of my haircuts. Like, a lot of people say, how come you don't show the back? And it's cause, like, man, like, I try not to take too much time recording, you know, so I just get the bulk of the stuff done, the bulk of what I feel that y'all need. And then, like, whatever I don't need, I won't record. So that's just the way I go about it, right? But if y'all wanna see like a full length haircut, like from beginning to end, let me know, man. We can probably do a couple of videos like that. But now we're gonna do a little bit of blending shear over comb, just clean up this blend a little more. And then we are gonna add a little bit of enhancements. These are the My Favorite Barber enhancements with the My Favorite Barber enhancement gun. You can get this at FWBarberSupply.com. Y'all know that discount code is Tank10. So me personally, this is my favorite enhancement gun and my favorite enhancements. As y'all can see, I use it in almost every video. So y'all make sure to check that out, man. If you really like to use enhancements and you're looking for a good one, I've had this gun for more than a year, still hasn't got clogged up on me. You know, my clients like the way this enhancement looks, man. But once that is done, we're gonna use the razor, basically putting the finishing touches with the razor, getting everything, you know, nice and sharp, making sure everything is just on point before we get my client out of here. And once again, guys, when you're using the razor, you want to make sure you stretch the skin. Lay that razor flat, man. Try not to hold it too much at a high angle. That will increase the chances of you nicking the client. I'm not saying you will nick the client, but it will increase the chances. So if you want to decrease the chances, make sure that you holding it a little more flatter than, you know, than at an angle, right? But check out that blend, man. We got a nice blend there, nice C-cup, nice lineup. We're getting my man on point right here. Getting him on point for the weekend. And then we're gonna hit that middle part, or not the middle part, but we're hitting that part on top. You know how people do when they get to come over, man. They gotta get that little part right there. And then we're gonna do the same thing to the opposite side. And even though it is sped up, you wanna make sure you take your time doing this. Lock in, really pay attention to what the hair is doing. Even the hair growth, like on the face, like try to pay attention, that way you don't nick the client or irritate the client either. Then we're gonna do the top lineup, the front lineup, whatever you wanna call it. Then we are gonna add some, I believe this is just some Johnny B gel. You can't get this at fwbarbersupply.com. But it's just some gel, you know what I'm saying? I don't remember what it is. I think it is the Johnny B gel. Then we're just gonna comb it a little bit. You know, you wanna make sure you're styling up your client before you let them out the chair. And check it out, man. This is the finished product. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this haircut in the comment section. If y'all like this video, please make sure to smash that like button. Also, if you're new to my channel, make sure and subscribe one time for your boy. Remember, guys, if you're in the Houston, Texas area and want a haircut from your boy, you can go to my website, tankbechopping.com. You can book there. If you need any discount on tools, you already know, fwbarbersupply.com. Discount code TANK10. But once again, man, y'all let me know what y'all think about this haircut in the comments. Y'all seen I did nick my client on the opposite side, but it's all good. We stopped it from bleeding. I cleaned them up. So, you know, it happens. But once again, you two, let me know what you think about this cut. I appreciate y'all for watching. Until next time, let's go.